Hey everybody, welcome back. This is another episode. We are now to the culmination of Angel Month, and we are going to be bringing you with the Pièce de Résistance, your classic mono white angels. See, we got here Giada, Font of Hope. She is a 1 mana and 1 white angel with flying and vigilance, and each other angel you control enters the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on it for each angel you already control. Then you can also tap her to add a white, spend this mana only to cast an angel spell, and she's a 2/2. Now, this deck is probably going to be similar to a lot of others out there because there's a lot of Giada decks, obviously. We're not going to get too much into that. And also, this is my upgraded version of the Secret Lair Angel deck that Magic released. I bought that because I really like angels, and some of the art on it was also really cool. So I had to get it, and then I, updated it with my own cards and swapped things out a little bit. So it's going to be a little different, but probably, there's only so many white angel stuff out there you got. Anyway, we'll see how it plays out, see how you like it. So let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to start off with Angel of Destiny. 3 mana, 2 white. She's flying double strike. And whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you and that player each gain that much life. At the beginning of your end step, if you have at least 15 life, more than your starting life total, each player Angel of Destiny attacked this turn loses the game. And she's a 2/6. Path of Ancestry, it enters tapped. You can add a mana of any color to your commander's identity pool. In this one, this doesn't really matter too much for that, except the reason that we got it in here is because if it shares a creature type with your commander, you get a scry one. So that's a free scry. We like scrying. Fancy Plains, nice little art from the Secret Lair. Seraph Sanctuary, when it enters, you gain a life, and then whenever an angel enters the battlefield under your control, you gain a life, and it just taps for a colorless. Resplendent Angel, 1 and 2 white. Flying, at the beginning of each end step, if you gained 5 or more life this turn, create a 4/4 white angel creature token with flying and vigilance. You can also pay 3 and 3 white, and until end of turn, Resplendent Angel gets +2/+2 and gains lifelink. She's a 3/3, so you can set her up to gain life herself if you don't have any other means. Valkyrie Harbinger, 4 and 2 white. Flying and lifelink. At the beginning of each end step, and the difference between... Oh no, this is the same one. Okay. They're both each end step. We got another one in here that says at the end of your end step. So there are some ones that are different, but this one is also each end step. So you can do it on if people attack you and you block with lifelinkers, you gain life. You can create more angels. This one is 4 or more life, create a 4/4 white angel creature token with flying and vigilance. She's a 4/5. Keeper of the Accord, 3 and a white. At the beginning of each opponent's end step, if that player controls more creatures than you, create a 1/1 white soldier creature token. At the beginning of each opponent's end step, if that player controls more lands than you may search your library for basic plains. Put it into the battlefield tapped and shuffle your library. Is a 3/4. This is great because white doesn't have a lot of land search like green does, so you got to find ways to mitigate that, and Keeper is a great way to do it. Now this here, I had to go out and get the special art because I really liked it. It's the full art or borderless art. I don't know what it is. I think it's borderless. Yeah. Lyra Dawnbringer. 3 mana, 2 white. Flying, first strike, lifelink. Other angels you control get +1/+1 and have lifelink, and she's a 5/5. Now the reason why I went out and got a special art for this one is because when I started in Dominaria, I think in 2018, I pulled a Lyra Dawnbringer. She was the first card that the first really big, awesome card that I got. And when I got her, I'm like, oh, this is a really cool card. And so I started to build angels, and I really got into angels. And so for the last 7 years I've been building up, and I've got like 6 or 7 different angel decks, and I love all of them. They're great. It all started with her, so I had to get a fancy one for the mono white deck. Super cool stuff. Archangel of Tithes, 1 and 3 white. Flying, as long as Archangel of Tithes is untapped, creatures can't attack you or planeswalker you control unless their controller pays 1 for each of those creatures. As long as Archangel of Tithes is attacking, creatures can't block unless their controller pays 1 for each of those creatures. And she's a 3/5. Another fancy planes. We got Commander's Plate, 1 mana. Equipped creature gets +3/+3 and has protection from each color that's not in your commander's color identity. Equip the commander for 3 or equip for 5. So basically what that means is because she's a mono white, red, black, blue, and green, she has protection from all of those colors. It's a great way to help keep her alive. We got Swiftfoot Boots, 2 mana, equipped creature has hexproof and haste. Equip cost 1. Got a fancy planes here. All nice and got that from Etsy. New Capenna, I think. Basic land. This is one of my white staples. I love this one. People hate it. Authority of the Consuls, 1 white mana. It's an enchantment. Creatures your opponents control enter the battlefield tapped. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under an opponent's control, you gain a life. That's a fantastic one. I think this is also included in the new Final Fantasy XIV deck, so people are going to become more familiar with that one. Court of Grace, 2 mana and 2 white. When it enters, you become the monarch. At the beginning of your upkeep, create a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying. If you're the monarch, create a 4/4 angel creature with token with flying instead. Some fancy secret lair art there. Invoke the Divine, 2 mana and a white. It's an instant. Destroy target artifact or enchantment. You gain 4 life. Works great with Valkyrie Harbinger right there. So you gain that life. You can create an angel if you don't want to attack or block. Another planes with some fancy art. Righteous Valkyrie, 2 and a white. Flying. Whenever another angel or cleric enters the battlefield under your control, you gain life equal to that creature's toughness. As long as you have at least 7 life more than your starting total, creatures you control get +2/+2. And she's a 2/4. Pristine Talisman, 3 mana. It's an artifact. You can tap it for a colorless and gain a life. Another fancy planes. We got Oketra's Monument, 3 mana. Legendary artifact. White creature spells you cast cost 1 less to cast, which is great for angels because they are expensive. And then whenever you cast a creature spell, create a 1/1 white warrior creature token with vigilance. And then a fancy foil Angel's Feather, 2 mana. Whenever a player casts a white spell, you may gain a life. It says player, so that means other people, if they're playing white, you can gain from that as well. Cleansing Nova, 3 mana, 2 white. Choose 1. Destroy all creatures or destroy all artifacts and enchantments. Another shiny planes. Basic Soul Ring, 1 mana, taps for 2 colorless. Celestine, the Living Saint, 4 mana and 1 white. This is from the 40k decks, and I thought she's not an angel, it's a human warrior, but she's basically the closest thing you're going to get to an angel in there. She has flying and lifelink, and then at the beginning of your end step, return target creature card with mana value X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield, where X is the amount of life you gained this turn. She is a 3/4. Sword of the Animist, 2 mana, equipped creature gets +1/+1, and then whenever the equipped creature attacks, search your library for a basic land card, put it on the battlefield tapped, then shuffle your library. Equip cost 2. Another great ad for white that has a lot of mana issues. Emeria, the Sky Ruin. It enters tapped, and then at the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 7 or more planes, you may return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Taps for planes. Here's your big hitter, Avacyn, Angel of Hope, 5 colorless and 3 white. Flying, Vigilance, and Indestructible. Other permanents you control have Indestructible. She's an 8/8. She's a fantastic one. Everybody always hates having her on the board. Which I don't think she was an include in the original deck, so you had to add her into that. Endless Atlas, 2 mana. Pay 2, tap, and draw a card. Activate this ability only if you control 3 or more lands with the same name. We're playing mono white, so that works out pretty good. Moon Silver Spear, 4 mana. The equipped creature has first strike, and then whenever the equipped creature attacks, put a 4/4 white angel creature token with flying onto the battlefield, equip cost 4. Another shiny plains. Thalia's Lancers, 3 and 2 white, first strike. When she enters, you may search your library for a legendary card, reveal it, and put into your hand, then shuffle your library. It's a 4/4. Good way to get out some good stuff there. Plains. We got Lightning Greaves, 2 mana. Equipped creature has haste and shroud. Equip cost 0. Difference between hexproof and shroud is hexproof your opponents can't target it, and shroud is you can't target it. On top of that, another shiny plains. Fancy space planes. We like that stuff. We went with Serra Ascendant here. It's an obvious include. 1 white mana. It's a human monk, but it has lifelink, and as long as you have 30 or more life, Serra Ascendant gets +5/+5 and has flying. It's a 1/1. So this is great in your opening hand. This is fantastic. You come out hard swinging. You can burn people's removal right away, so when you bring out other bigger stuff, they'll have less options for it. But other than that, it gets you started off really great, gaining life ahead quickly to help make room for some of these other things, because you're going to need more life in this deck, because people are going to want to go after you because you're gaining a lot of life. Dawnbreak Reclaimer, 4 and 2 white. Flying, at the beginning of your end step, choose a creature card in an opponent's graveyard. Then that player chooses a creature card in your graveyard. You may return those cards to the battlefield under their owner's control. It's a 5/5. This is a great politicking one. You'd be like, hey, man, you pick a good card for me, I'll pick a good card for you. And people will get on board with that most of the time. Fancy plains. We got a Reliquary Tower, no maximum hand size. Add 1 colorless to your mana pool. Crackdown, 2 and a white. Non-white creatures with power 3 or greater don't untap during their controller's untap steps. This is a great card. I love it. I love it. It is something that's really going to help mess with people. They're going to hate you for it, though. So be wary. Gilded Lotus, 5 mana. Taps to add 3 mana of any one color. It's just a good mana ramp card. Path to Exile, 1 white. Remove target creature from the game. Its controller may search his or her library for a basic land card. Put that card into play tapped, then shuffle his or her library. I generally like Swords to Plowshares over Path to Exile because Path to Exile gives them land, which is ramp for them, and I don't want to help them ramp. That's a bad thing. I think this one was included, but I never removed it just because I might swap that out if I don't have a swords in here. I haven't played this one in a while, so I'll have to review that if I can. Speaker of the Heavens, 1 white mana. Vigilance and Lifelink. You can tap it to create a 4/4 white angel creature token with flying. Activate this ability only if you have at least 7 or more life than your starting total, and only any time you could cast a sorcery. It's a 1/1. So this is a great one to go with Serra Ascendant. If you get both of these out there at the same time, like, fantastic. You're going to start getting up the life that you need to start pumping out some angels fast. If you get this later in the game, usually you're down life because people have been focusing you, so it doesn't play great in the later one, unless you haven't been much of a threat because someone else is playing slivers or something. Staff of the Sun Mages, 3 mana. Whenever you cast a white spell or a plains enters the battlefield under your control, gain 1 life. Cosmos Elixir, 4 mana. At the beginning of your end step, draw a card if your life total is greater than your starting total. Otherwise, you gain 2 life. Helps synergize with a bunch of these life gain things, and also if you do get up there, card draw. Card draw is awesome. White does not have a lot of it. Angel of Serenity, 4 and 3 white. Flying. When Angel of Serenity enters the battlefield, you may exile up to 3 other target creatures from the battlefield and or creature cards from graveyards. When Angel of Serenity leaves the battlefield, return the exiled cards to their owner's hands. Now you can do this for yourself if you got stuff in the graveyard and you don't have any other recursion. And then she dies, you get it back to your hand. It's awesome. Nope. I'm sorry, I had a little stuck on my... I gotta trim that. Fountain of Renewal, 1 mana. At the beginning of your end step, you gain 1 life. Get this started out early, gain some accumulation stuff. Always guaranteeing you at least 1 for a couple of these other things here. 3 mana, sacrifice it to draw a card. In case emergency comes around or someone's got a destroy artifact going on. Nice little plains. This is a great one. Segovian Angel, 1 mana, 1 white mana. Flying Vigilance, 1/1. It's unassuming. People don't look at it and go, oh, that's so crazy. But 1/1 flying, a lot of people don't have stuff that stops evasion. So they don't have a lot of reachers or flyers themselves. So a simple thing in there that you can buff up with some other stuff. It's awesome. Especially if she comes in later, right? Because you get +1/+1 for each angel. So if she's a later game stuff, you got a couple angels out. All of a sudden now you have a 1 mana, 5/5 flying vigilance. Like, it's great. Sarah Avenger, 2 white mana. You can't play Sarah Avenger during your first, second, or third turns of the game. Flying and vigilance, it's a 3/3. Get it in your opening hand, you got to wait for it, unfortunately, but a solid card. Urza's Incubator, 3 mana. When it enters, you choose a creature type, angels, and creature spells of the chosen type cost 2 less to cast. A great thing because angels are usually pretty expensive. Pearl Medallion, 2 mana, white. Your white spells cost 1 less to play. Look at that, right next to each other. Fancy shiny plains. Everflowing Chalice, 0 mana. It's got multi-kicker for 2. Basically, every 2 mana you pump into this, it gets 1 charge counter. And then for every charge counter, you add a colorless. Great way to help ramp for white. Angel of the Ruins, 5 mana and 2 white. Flying. When Angel of the Ruins enters the battlefield, exile up to 2 target artifacts and or enchantments. It has plains cycling for 2, meaning you pay 2 in your hand, discard it, you go look for a plains. Power and toughness, 5/7. I got another fancy plains. I will say this. Some of you might have noticed that I have all my plains are different. I like to have in my lands, for every deck, different lands. Some people like all the lands to be exactly the same. I like them all to be different because there's a lot of really cool art, and you want to see them. And so you mix it up. Myriad Landscape enters tapped, taps for a colorless, and you can pay 2 and sack it. Search your library for 2 basic lands that share a land type, so 2 plains. Put them in the battlefield tapped, shuffle your library. Nykthos, Shrine to Nyx. This is a great one. It's a legendary land. You tap it for a colorless. You can pay 2 to tap it and choose a color, and then you add mana to your mana pool equal to the amount of mana for your devotion to that color. So you see a lot of these pips that are 2s and 3s, and those are your devotion. So if you got 6 devotion out, you pay 2, you gain 6 mana for a total sum of 4 additional mana. It's a great way to help ramp up in this deck. Angel of Vitality, 2 and a white. Flying. If you would gain life, you gain that much life +1 instead. And then Angel of Vitality gets +2/+2 for as long as you have 25 or more life. And she's a 2/2. All right. Smothering Tithe, 3 and a white. Whenever an opponent draws a card, that player may pay 2. If the player doesn't, you create a treasure token. Another great way to help ramp up in this. I think that's a game changer, so be wary. We got planes, fancy little planes there. We have another Avacyn, Guardian Angel, 2 and 3 white, Flying Vigilance. You can pay 1 and a white to prevent all damage that would be dealt to another target creature this turn by sources of the color of your choice. Or you can pay 5 and 2 to prevent all damage that would be dealt to target player this turn by sources of the color of your choice. And she is a 5/4. So you can protect a creature, or you can protect yourself, or if you want to protect somebody else. That's important. Some politic in there. Breathkeeper Seraph, 4 and 2 white, flying, Soul Bond. I'm guessing this second part is what Soul Bond is, because sometimes they'll have the keyword but then no description and then a second ability that's a lot longer. I'm pretty sure this is it. So as long as Breathkeeper Seraph is paired with another creature, each of those creatures has. When this creature dies, you may return it to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. Your next end step. It's a 4/4. Brave the Sands. This is a great one that I like having with Authority of the Console. Because the further you get those in your opening hand, you have a 1 mana, 1 turn, 2 turn move that's 1 mana and a white. Creatures you control have vigilance, and each creature you control can block an additional creature. That's a great one. That one's underrated. Being able to, because people swing out with you, they go wide, and you can be like, well, I have half your cards, but I can now block twice as many dudes. It's fantastic. Fancy Plains. Archangel of Thune, 3 and 2 white. Flying and lifelink. Whenever you gain life, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. And these can be separate triggers. So if you can position them out or attack with multiple life-linking creatures, you get a 1 counter for each of those life gain instances. Entreat the Angels, 2 separate X's and 3 white. So you put X 4/4 white angel creature tokens with flying onto the battlefield. So for every 2 that you put into it, you get 1. So you have to pay 5 mana just to get 1 angel. Now that's kind of rough. It's a lot for not much, unless you have a lot of mana and nothing else to cast. But the key is the miracle cost, where you just pay 1 X and 2 white. So they know now it's 3 mana for 1 4/4. And then for every additional 1, you get it. So with the miracle cost for that 5 mana, you now have 3 angels instead of 1. But the miracle thing is it's the first, you may cast this card for its miracle cost when you draw it, if it is the first card you drew this turn. And this can be done on someone else's turn. So if someone else makes you draw a card, or you have something else that allows you to draw a card, if it's the one they got and you got the mana for it, you can cast it immediately. And I might as well show you this. I also got fancy sleeves. Yeah, they're like little koi fish, because I did a whole Kickstarter for some cool stuff. I got the deck box and the sleeves match it, and so they put the little commander face there. It's a nice little combo. Got a big thing for it. Starnheim Aspirant, 2 and a white. Angel spells you cast cost 2 less to cast. It's a 2/2. Look at that. We got all these mana reductions, because angels can get really expensive. We got a Cavern of Souls. When it enters, choose a creature type. Taps for a colorless. And you add 1 mana of any color. Spend this only to cast a creature spell of the chosen type, and that spell can't be countered. So use this on your Avacyn, and your people aren't going to be able to stop it. And then you come out and you're indestructible. Fancy Plains. Angelic Accord, 3 and a white. At the beginning of each end step, if you gained 4 or more life this turn, put a 4/4 white angel creature token with flying onto the battlefield. If you can get a couple of these things out, have multiple triggers at your end step, you create upwards 3 4/4 angels from 3 different cards. It'd be great. Vanquisher's Banner, 5 mana. As it enters, choose a creature type. Creatures of the chosen type get +1/+1, and whenever you cast a creature spell of the chosen type, you draw a card. Here's one of the reasons why I got this deck. So besides all the fancy art from a couple of these things that you've seen here, here's Bruna the Fading Light. 5 mana and 2 white. She's a legendary creature. She's an Angel Horror. When you cast this spell, you may return target angel or human creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. She has Flying Vigilance, and she's a 5/7. We'll set her aside momentarily because she has a friend. Arden Angel, 4 and 2 white. Flying. At the beginning of your upkeep, if Arden Angel is in your graveyard, roll a 4-sided die. If the result is 1, return Arden Angel from your graveyard to the battlefield, as she's a 4/4. If you can't cast her, good discard fodder, and then she's there and you can roll to get her back. Search for Glory, 2 and a white. It's a snow sorcery. Search your library for a snow permanent card, a legendary card, or a saga card. Reveal it, put into your hand, then shuffle your library. You gain 1 life for each snow spent to cast this spell. This was included in the deck, which is really weird because they did not include any snow lands and no snow permanents. It's just there as a legendary card tutor. You don't even have sagas in this naturally either. So it's really weird that they didn't include at least a saga or at least 1 snow permanent. That would have made it a little bit more useful. Amaria Shepherd, 5 and 2 white. Flying. Landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you may return target non-land permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. If that land is a plains, you may return that non-land permanent card to the battlefield instead. It's a 4/4. This works great with Myriad Landscape because you get 2 triggers off of it. Plus, if you play plains that turn, you'll have 3 triggers. So you can stack it well to have things come back from your graveyard. If you plan it right. Well of Lost Dreams, 4 mana. Whenever you gain life, you may pay X, where X is less than or equal to the amount of life you gained. If you do, draw X cards. So if I gained 4 life, and then I'm like, I have no cards in hand. I pay that 4 life, I draw 4 cards. Excellent in this deck. Fantastic for it. Dawn of Hope, 1 and a white. Whenever you gain life, you may pay 2. If you do, draw a card. Or you can do 3 and a white. Well, that's... Yeah, they're 2 separate things. Pay 3 and a white to create a 1/1 white soldier creature token with lifelink. Okay, so we do have a Swords to Plowshare in here. 1 white, exile target creature, its controller gains life equal to its power. You could also do this to yourself if you want to gain life to make yourself create a bunch of angels, if you got those things set out there. Austere Command, 4 and 2 white. You choose 2. Destroy all artifacts. Destroy all enchantments. Destroy all creatures with converted mana cost 3 or less. Or destroy all creatures with mana cost 4 or greater. And you get 2 of those 4. So if you got Avacyn out and you do the destroy creatures 3 and 4, you can do a board wipe except for yours. Or if some people are being mean with their artifacts and enchantments, you can get rid of theirs. And yours would have indestructible as well if you stick to the Avacyn. Another fancy plains. I think that one's from Theros. All right, here's the partner friend. Gisela the Broken Blade, 2 and 2 white. Legendary creature, Angel Horror. Flying, first strike, and lifelink. At the beginning of your end step, if you both own and control Gisela the Broken Blade, which is her, and a creature named Bruna the Fading Light, which is her, exile them, then meld them into Brazella, Voice of Nightmares. She is a 4/3. Now here's the cool thing. These 2 angel ladies were corrupted by the Eldrazi, which was very sad. But they became this really cool creature. Brazella, Voice of Nightmares. I don't know, see how well you can see that. But there you are. Legendary creature, Eldrazi Angel. Flying, first strike, vigilance, lifelink. Your opponents can't cast spells with mana value 3 or less. And she's a 9/10. Beautiful art. Awesome meld. Super cool creature. Both of her other cards are also good setups. It is a. I've gotten this melded twice before, both of which were removed almost immediately after I melded them. One person said, "Oh, I'll let you meld it because you never melded it," and then removed it and didn't even let me play with it. Like that was just salt in the wound. Salt in the wound. All right, she's somewhere around here. Keep it. All right. Armillary Sphere, 2 mana. Pay 2 and tap to sacrifice it. Search your library for up to 2 basic land cards, reveal them, put them to your hand, then shuffle your library. Reprieve, 1 and a white. Instant, return target spell to its owner's hand, draw a card. This is great. There's not a lot of white counter spells, so having that in there is a good way to have it, and it gives you card draw. Dismantling Wave, 2 and a white. For each opponent, destroy up to 1 target artifact or enchantment that player controls. So you got 3 opponents. You can destroy 1 thing for each of them. It also has Cycling. 6 mana and 2 white. You pay that, you discard it, and then you draw a card. And then when you cycle it, destroy all artifacts and enchantments. 2 more fancy planes. Chalice of Life, 3 mana. Tap to gain 1 life. Then if you have at least 10 life more than your starting life total, transform it. And you transform it into the Chalice of Death, where you tap it and target player loses 5 life. I haven't gotten to use this card in this deck yet. I got to use this in my white-black Angel deck, and that was great because I had Grievous Wounds with it. So I was able to get more life, transform it, and then I would tap it to deal 5 to somebody, and then at their end step they took another 5 because of the life that they lost that turn. It was awesome. That actually helped me win the game. This is also another fantastic card that has helped me win 2 games. So the Book of Exalted Deeds, it's 3 white mana. It's a legendary artifact. So this is the one. At the beginning of your end step, if you gained 3 or more life, you create a 3/3 white angel creature token with flying. Then you pay 3 white, you tap it and exile it. Put an enlightened counter on target angel. It gains. You can't lose the game, and your opponents can't win the game. Activate only as a sorcery. I had 2 setups with this. One allowed me to stall the game long enough because he had no more removal for me to just build up my angels and swing out. And then the other one was set up to where I was able to kill one person, then the 2 people left started to gang up on me. And the first person had to use all of the removal that they had. They had to like draw a bunch of cards and go through this and do everything that they can to get enough to get rid of my boots on the creature so they could target it, and then destroy the creature so that way I couldn't lose the game. And then the second person had to swing out at me. But the problem was they only had like 2 or 3 creatures, and I had like 11 life left, and they could only do 10 damage to me. So I had 1 life left. And then this was in my blue-white deck. And a couple turns prior, I had cast Advent of the Seventh Sun. And so when I drew that, I won because I got to cast and play that. So it was a fantastic. This is a great way to help you win. I would recommend including, especially if you can get some proliferators or some moving and doubling counter stuff. So maybe the new Final Fantasy 10 deck with Titus, where they make stuff, you can proliferate, move stuff around. So you might be able to do it, although it has to go on an angel. So if you want to put it into other decks, make sure you have angels in there to make it work. But otherwise, it's a great card to help you stall and win some stuff because people don't expect it. Fancy Plains. I had to snag this one. Now I got another one. I got a really old school looking Sarah the Benevolent in, I think, my white-blue deck, actually. It's foil, it's old school, so it had the old school Planeswalker text, so it wasn't like established like +2, -3, and like nice format. It was all like written out. that I might want to swap into this deck just because it's a fancier. But I do really like the art in this one, so I'm not sure yet. Anyway, Sarah the Benevolent, 2 and 2 white, legendary Planeswalker Sarah. You +2 her. Creatures you control with flying at +1/+1 until end of turn. It's not bad. -3 her to create a 4/4 white angel creature token with flying and vigilance. Or -6 to get an emblem with, if you control a creature, damage that would reduce your life total to less than 1 reduces it to 1 instead. And she starts with 4 loyalty. So this is another great way to help keep you alive if you can get that emblem out there. Plains, shiny plains, shiny plains. Angelic Field Marshal, 2 and 2 white, flying, and as long as you control your commander, Angelic Field Marshal gets +2/+2, and creatures you control have vigilance, and she's a 3/3. And then another shiny plains. So this here is my mono white Secret Lair upgraded Giada Font of Hope Angels tribal deck. This is the culminate. This is my second angel deck. My first one was a 5-color one because I bought the Vault of Angels thing, and so I had a really cool, they're all different colors, so I include them all in that one. But this was my first mono white creature deck. My first mono deck because I like multiple things, but it was my first angels, and I really liked it because I was just getting into Commander, and I had played 60 card builds before, messing around with stuff, but this was my first angel deck because I had Morafon as the commander for the other one. So I really like this one. There's a bunch of stuff that came out now that I might mix into this a little bit. We'll see. There might be 1 or 2 things I might swap out, like getting rid of that Path to Exile for something else, maybe a different white removal. Maybe another counterspell. There's a Illumination, which counters artifacts and enchantments. That might be a good one. But yeah, I really do like this. It's always been a great one to play. It's always fun. It always does well. And I don't recommend you getting the Secret Lair Angels deck because when I got it, it was $150, and that was still a lot. And that was before, you take a look at some of the Secret Lair decks now, and they're like $200, $250. But you've got the list here. You can go take a look at the list of that and build it on your own for even some cheaper costs. But I had to snag it because I loved Angels, and the art on a lot of these were fantastic. So you're like, I got to get them. And but yeah, I think the last time I saw the Angel Secret Lair, it was like $600. So unless you got the money to spend, I wouldn't recommend it. And then yeah, throw some stuff in here. I might swap out a couple. I got a fancy Soul Ring I can put in here to make them look a little bit nicer, make it feel a little bit special. And it was weird. I could have sworn I also had a Healer's Hawk in here that goes with my Segovian Angel because they're both 1/1 flyers. One has the Healer's Hawk has lifelink instead of vigilance, which is great for a lifelink thing. But it's simple. It works. It's not too crazy, so you don't get people complaining about it and high-powered stuff. It's very middle of the road, but it can fight some of the stronger decks if you have people who aren't playing I win on turn 2. And yeah, this will bring us to an end of Angel Month. I like this being the culmination of it. This has been a long time coming. Got a lot of good stuff here, and some of the deck building of it in and of itself has just been fun, and playing the game's also been fun. And there's a lot of stuff going on with Magic now, with the Final Fantasy stuff coming out. Things are super expensive and ridiculous. And they got other properties I'm not really all that fond of. Like they're coming out with Spider-Man. I'm like, I don't want a whole Spider-Man thing. That doesn't even fit or feel, part of the game. And this is going to keep going up in price. I know I'm ranting here. I'm sorry, but Um, I don't know. Oh, a good one to add in here would be the white crystal from the Final Fantasy set. I should add one of those in here. That'd be good because it makes, yeah, okay. Anyway, I got some work to do. But yeah, hope you guys had a good time. Hope you can see some of the things we got going on here to help build off of each other, and it's really straightforward, nothing too complicated in terms of like combos and stuff. You can just make things big and powerful. Things keep you got her out, cast more angels, they get bigger and bigger, including tokens. So all of the angel tokens yourself keep getting bigger for more of the angels because it's not creature or non-token creature, it's just angels. Um, and I'm thinking about maybe there's two other cards in here, Anointed Procession, which doubles tokens, but I don't think we have enough stuff for token doublers that would justify it. And the other one is whenever a token enters the battlefield, it enters as a 4/4 angel instead. And I've got more things that create angels, and I only have, you know, Oketra's Monument, which creates a 1/1 warrior, and then I've got the wherever it is that you get to create a 1/1 soldier with lifelink. There's not enough to where you're creating enough tokens to justify making them 4/4 angels instead. But those cards will go well in another one. I got another mono white token deck that has that specifically. So yeah, enjoy it, mess around with it, add or subtract as your own leisure. But I've enjoyed this. I've liked it. It's a solid deck. Um, anyway, thanks for tuning in. Hope you guys are doing great. Hopefully the magic world calms down a little bit and we can get back to logic and reason. And but yeah, thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you guys later. Peace.